Hey guys, teacher Alex here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do a walkthrough of 2019 March paper, paper 2, and I'm going to do a walkthrough of task 3. Task 3 will be in regards to the database. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is that I am going to open up Microsoft Access on my computer. Now, you may have something that may be a little bit different, but the whole entire process is actually the same. Okay, so I have Microsoft Access open up, and I'm going to open up a few more things. Okay, I'm going to open up the evidence document as well. My evidence document should be this one here, and I should open the evidence document. Now, my evidence document is a bit raw, simply because I have skipped task 1 and task 2. Okay, I will upload videos on task 1 and task 2 later. Now, the second tool that I'm going to open up will be the sniping tool, or is it snipping tool? I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce this. Now, the reason why I'm using a snipping tool is because I'm actually running a Windows on my Mac. I have a Mac, and it's basically it's a virtual machine lah. So on my Mac there's no print screen button, so I have to use the snipping tool to do screenshots. Okay, now if you have a Windows or a PC or a Windows based laptop, you have a print screen button on your keyboard. You can use that instead of the snipping tool. Alright, so let's get straight to it. I'm going to do question number 18. We are going to examine the 3 files. Now the 3 files are right here, and I have them already downloaded, up and running. Okay, and one of the question is that I need to type in an answer under evidence 4 between the advantages and disadvantages of a relational database rather than a flat file database, right? Okay, so in this what do you call it again, this part of the question paper, I highly advise you guys to check the marking scheme instead of me, because the marking scheme has a very nice concise answer for it. Okay, but nevertheless I will later I will upload basically some of my work, and you will see what I have come up with lah. Okay, now I'm going to go straight to question number 19, and I need to create a new relational database. Okay, so I need to import the file m19 student.csv as a table. So I'm going to open up my Microsoft Access, and I'm going to create a blank database. But before I do that, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on blank database, and it's going to ask me where am I going to save it. Okay, so by default, guys, it's saved in your documents. Okay, so I'm going to name this as m19. Okay, task 3. I'm going to create. Now I have an empty database which I will import the CSV file. Okay, so to import, it's very simple. Click on external data. I have 2 distinct divisions here. One is import, one is export. Please don't mess it up. Okay, so we need to input a table, so we need to use this guy here. Click on new data source, from file, and I'm going to select text file because CSV is a text file. This menu pops up, and this is where I will look for that file. I've already downloaded the file, and I'm going to look for it. It's m219 students. Click open. You don't need to change anything at the bottom here. Click OK. Here we don't need to change anything at all, because it's already preset to delimited, which is correct. Click next. Now we need to make sure the first row contains field names box is checked. Okay, see the difference between a checked and unchecked box. Okay, so the first row here is basically the names of all these fields. Click next. Now this is the part where we need to assign the data types. Now the data types has been given to us on the question. Okay, so I want to save time. I want to change all of it really quickly, so I click on advanced, and a new submenu will open up, and I can check. And it seems that everything's correct except for the last one, which wants me to change to Boolean. Okay, so in Microsoft Access it's yes or no. Now it wants us to display as yes or no. We can't do it here, so we'll do it later in the once we finish importing the database. Click next. Well, I need to select a primary key, which the question paper says that it's roll number. Click next and click finish. Click close. I do not need to see this anymore. Now you see that my table has been imported. I do not need this empty table. Okay, so let's go back to changing the field name of paid to display only yes or no. So I have to select paid. Okay, and when I click on paid, I will be shown this sub menu here, and here I'm going to select yes or no. So it's going to display yes or no. Remember to save. Okay guys, you need to always remember to save. And now I need to place my evidence document of field names and data types used in the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to design view. I'm going to make a screenshot of this using the snipping tool. I'm going to snip. Sorry, I made a mistake. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on paid. I'm going to make sure that this part here is shown as well, simply because I want to show the examiner that I have changed it to yes or no. And this is it. I'm happy with this. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this into evidence number 5. Okay. Next. The gender field data entry is to be limited to accept only M or F. Okay. So let's do that. Let's go back to our design view here. Let's click on gender. And what we're going to do is we're going to set a validation rule. So what the validation rule is that I want to test whether the data that's entered is M or F. So notice I use double quotes here. This is a double quote M followed by a double quote, or double quote F followed by double quote. Okay, this is the right way to do it. If you straight away write M or F, there's going to be a problem. So there is no validation, which means that you have to enter the actual sentence that we wrote there, M or F, which is wrong. So we need to put the double quotes followed by another double quote for F. Okay, let's save it. Okay, this menu pops up and it's just asking us whether they want, whether it's okay to check the whole entire table for M or F. Basically, just click yes. No errors. Let's go to datasheet view. Everything seems fine. I'm going to try and change this gender here to, let's say, G, and see what happens. See that this is prohibited because the validation rule has been set to either only accept M or F. Okay, so let's undo our modification. Again, save. Now let's do the question number 20, sub question, where they ask us to fill in a table in the evidence document. There are 4 examples there, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly answer this lah. Okay, now let's see. They want us to make sure that there is a validation rule. Okay, they want us to see which one of the screenshots or which one of the pictures on the question paper would mean that the database will actually check whether or not the gender entered, okay, is hold on, let me just reread the question paper. I'm sorry. Complete the table in your evidence document with the words yes or no to enter, which will limit the data entry. Okay, yes, I'm right. So we need to basically answer the question this way. Okay, so let's look at example A. So under the format, it says M or F. Okay, there is no validation there. Okay, so what that means is that if we change the gender, okay, if we change the gender, there is no check whether it's M or F like what we did just now. Okay, because the format that says M or F, that's not actually a format. Okay, no data validation rule set. Okay, now this is a very simplistic answer. Okay, so something much more accurate, I highly suggest that you use the marking scheme. Now let's look at B. B is correct. So we basically that screenshot did exactly what we did. So they set a data validation rule. Okay, so yes, a data validation rule was applied to check if the data entered is either a F or M. Okay, next example C is definitely no. Okay, because What this is done is that it's converted into a combo box, and an option of M or F has been placed. However, a combo box also allows you to type in text, so there's no validation there. Okay, no data validation rule set. A user can still enter text that is not within the row source. Okay, next. Example D, definitely a no. Why? That is just basically showing a filtered view on the data sheet itself. Okay, it is only a filtered view on the data sheet. No data validation rule was applied. Okay, now we have completed evidence 6 table. Now I'm going to move on to question 21, where they want us to import m19 courses.csv. So I shall do that right now. I will do the same thing as previously. Import from file, text file. We'll look for the file, and they want us to enter m219 courses. Click OK. Next. Make sure that's checked. I'm going to check all the data types. Short text, date with time, long integer, text. Okay, now in the question paper they want us to apply this with a format that is given to us. We can't do it here, okay, so we can only do it in the design view. So let's finish up the primary key, which is course ref. Next, finish, and close this, and I have courses here, so I don't need this anymore. Let's save and close it. Courses, let's go to design view, go to start date. We're going to change the format to the one given to us by the question paper. That's how you do it. You literally write the format in the format box in the this property field property submenu here. Okay, remember you need to click start date. So I clicked start date and I applied. If you do not click start date and we click on any one of the other data fields, it's going to apply that format to the other fields, which is going to be wrong, and it's going to give you an error later. Okay, so I'm going to make a screenshot. I'm going to screenshot like so, copy, and I'm going to place it in the evidence document, which is evidence 7. Next, the question paper would like us to create a data entry form. So when you see data entry form, what you need to do is you need to create a form. Okay, so how do we do that? Very simple. All we have to do is click on the correct table that we want to apply the form creation upon. So they want us to create a data entry form using all the fields in the students table. So I'm going to select this guy here, click create, and I'm going to look for form, and this is my form button here. You don't need to use the form wizard actually, just create form, click on form, and there we go. Okay, half done. Next, form must display only one record at a time, so this form actually displays one record at a time. To use the form, we have to go to form view. Okay, see now that form is usable. I can edit things on it. Okay, next, we need to apply at least 4 features to this form to make the design user friendly. So if you go onto our textbook, I'm not entirely sure which page it is, but there is an entire section of dedicated to basically explaining to you how do we make this form more usable or more user friendly. So the first thing I will do with this form, okay, first I'm going to save it first. Okay, I'll call it form. Okay, so it's important you save just in case your computer crashes, okay, so you don't lose your work. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the title, because we giving it a proper name would actually increase or improve its user friendliness. So I'm going to call this as student detail entry form. Okay, now this is actually number one thing that we can do to improve it. Okay, second thing that I will do is I will actually change one of these things here to something that will improve the user friendliness, number one. Number two, it will reduce errors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on gender, and I'm going to change gender to a combo box. Okay, so if you notice, right, what I did there was that I followed the example set in, I believe that was question number 20, yes. So I'm going to change this guy from a text box. At the moment right now, this is a text box. Look at the form. So under gender, okay, I can type in it, which I don't want because it creates a possibility of errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to design view. I'm going to click on gender, the details box here, right click, I'm going to change to a combo box. When I do that, okay, now you see that it becomes a drop down box, right? Now I want this property to open. If it's not open on your page, very simple, right click, click on properties, and it will show up like this. Okay, now in here what I'm going to do is I am going to set it to have its own set of details. So I've changed row source type to value list, which means that I'm going to assign values to it manually. So first one is M followed by semicolon, then F. Okay, it doesn't understand commas, so you have to use semicolon. Okay, next let's try it out. Save. We'll go back to form view. There we go. Now it becomes a selectable drop down box. Okay, so that's feature number 2. Feature number 3, what else can we do? What we are going to do is perhaps apply the similar thing to paid. Paid can be yes or no, right? So it's the similar process all over again. So you can basically change this one, right click, change to, and you can select combo box, and you do the same thing as well. Okay, yes or no. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, what I am going to do instead is I'm going to add buttons to my form. Why buttons? Will improve the user friendliness. Why do I need the buttons? Let's look at the form view. See, the buttons that's given to us is down here. Okay, this goes to the next record and so forth. This is to create a new blank record. Okay, so it's not very convenient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some buttons to it. To add some buttons, very simple. Under design view, I've made some space here. I drag this line down. Remember, don't drag this line, okay? This line corresponds to actually the size of the page, so you don't want to drag this line. You can only drag this one, okay? Click on this button here, and I'm going to draw a button right here. It doesn't matter where you place it because you can move it later. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this to go to the next record, okay? And I would like an arrow instead, okay? Finish. Now I've got a button that goes to the right. Okay, can I move it? Yes, I can. Let's move it somewhere so it looks nice and neat. Let's add another button here. Let's go to the previous record instead. Okay, and we have a picture, and the arrow's not the same, but it's okay. I don't for demonstration purposes, it's okay. Of course, in the real exam, you don't want to do that, right? Let's add a few more buttons. Okay, I would like to add a new record. Click next. And this looks nice. And this is a button to add a new record. And if you want to add a few more buttons just to spice things up a little bit, we can also say delete a record, right? And trash can, so delete record. This is nice. Let's do that. There we go, nice and neat. Okay, now we have created a form that has 4 features: title, drop down boxes, okay, yes, no. Oh goodness, I did not do the correct thing. Let's change it back to text box, right? Save. Form view, let's have a look again, and yes, we have a functional form that has navigational buttons. You see that it goes to the next value, next field, and so forth. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Now we are going to use our data entry form to enter this data. So that's question number 24, and I shall use my form. Go click on the new form button. Now I've got an empty form here, and I shall enter the details that's given to me. I'm sorry. See that? Let's fix that up. Okay. Barrett. Okay. AC code will be UJA3, course code will be A1901, and paid will be yes. Okay, and I'm happy with that. Okay, hit enter so that it's entered. Okay, save, and I am going to take a screenshot of this. Okay, and put it in my evidence document. Okay, let's do right that. This is a copy of my form. I'm going to paste it into my evidence document under evidence number 8. Okay. Right, question number 25. Let's import the file m19 rooms into the database. Let's do that straight away. I do not need the form anymore. Always save. Let's close it. Same process over again. Text file, look for the file. We need to look for rooms. Okay. Next, click that. Now let's check all the data types, whether they're all correct. And no, the last one is supposed to be currency. Okay, click OK. Next, primary key will be AC code, and I am happy with that. So I've got all 3 tables done. Now I need to make sure that I can show all the field names as evidence 9 asked me to. So I shall open the design view, and I'm going to open my screenshot tool again, and I shall change that to the latest one, which is this guy here. Go paste it under evidence number 9. Question number 26 requires me to create a primary key. Okay, so all these tables right now, they are all not related to each other. Okay, how do I know they're not related? Let's go to database tools and click on relationship. Now there are 3 tables here. I'm going to select all of them, and when I select all of them, as you can see, there are no lines between these 3. Well, that means that there's no relationship. Okay, so we're going to create a one-to-many relationship. Let's start with the first one. AC code to foreign key AC code. Let's look for AC code. So this one here is AC code, this one here is AC code. Let's drag this guy to this guy here, and we want a one-to-many relationship. To do that, we need to click this box here, enforce referential integrity. Click the create button, and you will see this line appear, and you will see a one-to-many symbol there. Okay, so that represents a one-to-many relationship between these 2 tables. Primary key course ref to foreign key course code. Course ref pull to course code. Click on the button again, the checkbox again, and we have another one-to-many relationship. So right now we have a database that is now relational. Now I need to screenshot that, and I'm gonna place it in my evidence document under evidence 10. Okay. Right. Now moving on to question number 27. Now question number 27 reads, produce a tabular report using fields from relevant tables. Now you need to be very, very clear that reports require a query. Okay, now a table is basically the raw data. The form is basically how we will interact with the database. Why we don't want to interact directly is that we may mess it up. So using a form, it reduces the chances of people messing up the database accidentally. Okay, so we will try not to mess with the database directly. So to prevent that, a form is created. Now again, to create a report, first of all you need to create a query, and I shall do that right now. So create a query. We'll look for query wizard, and it will be always a simple query wizard. Now let's look at it very carefully. Okay, read the question paper very carefully. It says that the first bullet point states that there are certain fields to use, so I'm going to select only those. Okay, so let's begin with roll number. Where do you think roll number could be? Let's check all the different tables. As you can see, there are 3 tables here. Okay, so I'm going to select roll number, first name, last name, gender, course code, and course. Where is course? Course is not here. Let's look for under courses. There we go. Select course, location, start date, and tutor. Okay, so effectively we've created a query from 2 tables only. Click next. What I like to do, and I highly advise you guys to do, is to name the query the question number. Okay, and I want to immediately work on the query, so I click on modify the query design, click finish, and now as you can see only two tables are shown here simply because we use data and data fields only from two tables. Again, I'm going to save. Now once we create a query, you will see an additional I'm not sure what this is called, a tab, category of called query. Now if you look at the question, you will see two types of methods of giving you instruction. One that says selects and the other that says displays. Okay, now when you see the word display, that's for the report. Okay, or sort is also it falls under report, and selects is where we do the filtration, we do the final work of modification or filtering the data, and that's done in the query. Okay, so I'm going to do bullet point number 3. Selects only courses where course underscore code starts with the letter A. So I'm going to look for course underscore code, and I'm going to type in A asterisk. Why? What that means is that it's gonna look for anything that starts with the alphabet A, and it's gonna ignore whatever it is at the behind that alphabet. Okay, so when I run this, you see that course code A19012 and 3 and so forth will be shown. But if I do not put the asterisk, what's going to happen is that nothing will be shown, simply because there is no course code that starts with the letter A. It has other stuff behind it. That's why the asterisk exists. Next, there are no more further selection. So we're going to save this query, and we're going to create a report from this query. So to create a report, very simple. I'm going to close the query because I don't need it anymore. Okay, I'm going to select the query, make sure it's selected, click create. Now we're going to create a report out of it. So we're going to use the report wizard. Now if you see in the report wizard, once you selected the query here, you will see that the correct query will be selected here as well. Now we need to again make sure that the fields are according to the order of the field that's given in the question paper. Okay, so the question paper wants us to begin with roll number, first name, blah 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 blah, start date, tutor. Okay, well, I'm happy with this. Click next. Under this, how do I want to view data? Again, we want to view it in one lump sum like this. We do not want it to be displayed this way. This is wrong, this is correct. Now, is there any grouping? The question do not ask us for any grouping, so we don't need to group. Now we are required to do the sorting. This is bullet point number 4. So ascending order of course code, ascending, and then ascending order of last name, next. Now the question wants us to make sure that the report is landscape and it is tabular report. So you don't actually need to change this. Question papers never usually ask you to change this part. Click next. Again, I have the habit of naming the report according to the question paper. I would like to have a look how the report looks like. Now, do you see the problem here? The problem here is there's two problems. Number one, the report is not according to the order of the question paper. See that? Even though we selected roll number, but it's not shown first. So we need to fix this. The second thing is that there are a lot of spaces here. We want to reduce that. And lastly, look at the start date. You see hashtag simply because there's not enough space to display everything. So we need to fix this. So how are we going to fix this? Let's go to design view. Okay, I apologize. Let's use layout view. Layout view allows us to modify things while looking at it in real time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the spaces first. Okay, make sure you don't reduce the space to the point where it cuts off the data. Okay, you might miss out, so you have to be really careful. Okay, you see this archaeology on site, there's a lot more stuff down here. So there's two ways to do this. I can either do this, okay, or I can also do this. I can select the bottom one like so. See that? Okay, both ways are equally acceptable. If you find that there's not enough space, then you probably want to do the other way that I showed you just now. And let's reduce that. Let's increase the box of start date so we can see the whole entire thing. And let's organize it a little bit nicer. Now let's rearrange it a little bit. So it begins with roll number followed by first name and last name. So course code do not belong here. So I'm just going to move this guy somewhere here. And then I'm going to move roll number in front here. Then last name, and we're just going to push this guy slightly to the right. And then I'm going to move first name, okay? Followed by gender. Okay, followed by course code, that's correct. Followed by course, that is correct as well. Followed by location, start date, and the tutor. So I'm happy with this, okay? Now, let's have a good look at it. Check first, okay? So always check your work using the print preview, because in IGCSE, you have to print it out. Now, see that? See what the problem is? Still, the hashtag is there. So let's go back to my layout view and fix that, okay? So what that means is that there's not enough space still. So I'm going to fix that. Let me move the location slightly. I am going to make the start date slightly larger. Okay, my course code decided to disappear. Let me undo a few things and see what happened. Okay, there we go. I think that's a lot better. Okay, let's see what happens. Print preview. Okay, still start date is not fully legible. Let's make the box slightly bigger. There we go. Print preview. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so let's make sure you guys check every page of the report. Make sure nothing is cut off or you will lose valuable marks. Now, we need to then calculate the number of delegates of this on these courses and position this number under the last name column. So what they want us to do is they want us to calculate the total number of people who have signed up under this course code that begins with A. So it needs to count all these names here. Okay, so how do I do that? We have to go to design view, select last name, right click on it, and you are going to look for an option called total, and we're going to count the values or count records. Okay, both of them actually do the same thing lah. So what I'm going to do is select count record. Okay, you see this box is going to appear. Let's check whether it appears. Wait a minute, it doesn't appear here. How come? Because it appears only in the last page. See that? Now let's go back to the design view again. See, it's at the bottom here, and that's correct, guys. Don't change it. That's it. This is where it belongs. Okay, because you want the footer of the whole entire report to show the total count of the people. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a label on the left side here, and that label will state total delegate. Now let's have a look again. Again, I always check my work using print preview. There we go, happy with that. Let's make sure that the report title is the correct one according to question paper. Let's do that. Go back to design view again. Change the name of the report to course delegates, followed by our name, center number, candidate number displayed on every page. So to make sure everything appears on every page, you have to either put in the page header or the page footer. What that means is that it will appear in every page. If you put it in the report header, it will only appear in the first page. If you put it in the report footer, it will only appear in the last page. Okay, so let's put our details in here. Name, center number, candidate number. Okay, I've just made it up. So now if you can see, this is my first page. You see that? That's my name, center number, and candidate number, and that also appears in the second page. Okay, so now I'm happy with this. We're going to save. We're going to print the report, right? Now, of course, I'm not going to really print it, but in the real exam, you have to print it as in a physical copy. Now we need to make sure that every printout must have my name and center number. So again, this part here is extremely important. Okay, evidence number 11. Let's show let's do a screenshot of the formula to calculate the total number of delegates. So to do that, it's very simple. Go to design view, and you just need to screenshot this guy here. So let's do that. I'm going to screenshot this guy. That will be enough. I'm going to copy and paste and put it into my evidence. Okay. Now let's move on to question number 28. 28 also wants us to create a tabular report. So of course, because it's a report, I need to always start with a query first. Let's click create. Now what do they want us to create? They want us to create a very special new field. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So first of all, let's close our report. We don't need it anymore. Again, I highly emphasize that you save. So let's create using a query wizard. Okay, for the simple query, let's make sure we select the correct things. So if you see, because I've selected, I've highlighted query here, the query will be automatically selected here. So be careful, you might make mistakes. Okay, so you make sure that you select the fields from only the tables. So let's do the tables. Okay, I'm going to do bullet point number 2 first. Okay, first name, last name, paid. So students, first name, last name, paid. Location is not in the students. I think it's under courses. Location, weeks, followed by room type, which is under room, and followed by weekly costs. Okay, and price. Now there's no price in any of this because if you read the first bullet point, we're going to create one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Next, I'm going to name my query to the question number. I'm going to save just in case. So as you can see now, 3 tables have been selected because we took three the data fields from 3 tables. Okay, so we are going to create a field called price. Okay, so give me a second. I'm just going to open my magnifier so you can see what I'm going to type. Right, so what I'm going to type in here, let me just what do you call this again, yeah, make the box a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to type here is this: price column is calculated by weekly underscore cost. Okay, pardon me, I made a mistake. You need to follow exactly, yeah, times, which is shown, symbolized by an asterisk, by weeks. Now what are the box brackets for? So you can see I put box brackets there. The box brackets represent fields that exist. Price is new. I've created this guy here. Okay, while weekly cost and weeks exist in the database. So I'm going to check this guy here. Okay, I'm going to try to zoom out from my magnifier if I can. Just give me a second. Okay, it's a little bit more difficult with a Mac. Okay, I apologize. I'm really sorry. And let me kill the magnifier first. Okay. Close you. Okay, right. Again, I'm sorry. Next, let's run and see what happens. There we go. Price has been created and the calculation has been done. It took weekly cost and multiplied by weeks. Okay. Now what's going to happen is, let's have a look at the question paper. Are there any other additional stuff that they want us to do? Yes. Bullet point number 4. They want us to filter it by making sure that the location is Aman and followed by paid is no. Let's run it to see everything works. So I'm happy here it works. Okay, now I can create a report for it. Let's save. Don't need it anymore, but select Q28 because I'm going to create a report for Q28. Now you got to remember, once you've done the query, you need to save it. Okay, if you don't save it, price will not appear. So I've saved it just now and price appeared here. Okay, so let's have a look. So we need to create show only first name, last name, paid, location, weeks. Okay, so correct, everything's good. Again, this is the correct one. Are there any sorting involved? Let's have a look. Sort weekly cost in descending order, followed by last name in ascending order. They want us to make sure it's portrait, and again this is a tabular report. Click next. I'm happy with this. Let's see what it looks like first of all. So you see we've got a similar problem as before. It is not in the correct order, number one. Number two, we can't see the whole entire thing. So let's fix it using the layout view. I'm going to fix the price, ensuring that we can see everything. I'm going to fix weeks as well. Location, we do not need that much space. Okay. Paid, we can't read it as well. Let's open it up so we can read it. First name a little bit too long in space. Last name as well. Let's rearrange it. Okay. So first name, last name, followed by paid. Okay. So let's fix weekly cost first. I'm just going to move it here a little bit. First name, oops, followed by last name. Happy with that. Weekly cost is not in the correct place, followed by paid. Let's do that. Followed by location. Okay, let's do that as well. Followed by weeks. Okay. Yes, it is very tedious, but unfortunately you have to do this. Okay. Room type followed by weekly cost. I shall rearrange you guys. Move it here, and there we go. Now we're happy with that. Okay, now it looks great. Now they want us to calculate the total price and place this below the field price. So below here, let's count it. Let's sum it up. Go to design view. Let's click on the details of the price. Right click, total, sum. Again, it appears here, and that is correct. Let's put a label beside it. And total payments to collect. Done. I'm happy with that. Let's change the title to what the question wants. Course update, followed by a display of my name, center number at the top right corner of my report. So again, I'm going to always put it in the page header. Let's put it here. Name CN. Right. Okay, that's a fair bit too big. Let's reduce the box a little bit. That looks great. Let's check it out. Print preview. Alright. What is the problem here? Let's have a quick look. Title's good. My details are here on the top right corner. Everything's legible. But if you look at my calculation here, the sum, it does not display the number in currency. So we need to fix this. So to fix that, we need to go back to design view. I'm going to push this. Oh goodness. Undo. Okay. Click on the sum price. We're going to right click, go to properties, and this box is going to appear. So when this box appears, let's change the format to currency. Alright. Save it. Preview one more time, and now it is in the correct format. Then this is the correct version that you need to print. Okay. Now this is how you do the questions, most of the questions in CAS 3 for March 2019 QP21. Okay, thanks guys.